BookCast FM, bringing books to life, one cast at a time. Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we really unpack sources to get you the key insights. Today, we're tackling a book that always gets people talking. Cal Newport's So Good They Can't Ignore You.
Right. And it's definitely not your typical career advice, the whole follow your bliss thing. Newport really challenges that. Our goal today is to dig into his main argument, which is essentially that real career satisfaction.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from finding some pre-existing passion. It comes from building valuable skills that lead you to fulfilling work.
Exactly. We want to give you a really solid, comprehensive feel for Newport's framework. And hey, if this resonates, definitely check out the book. We've put a link in the description to support the author, Cal Newport. Okay, so let's jump in. Rule number 1 hits hard. Don't follow your passion.
Right.
Why start there?
Well, this first rule is, foundational to his whole perspective. He argues passion as a starting point. It's often misleading, it's unreliable, and frankly, it usually doesn't map neatly onto actual jobs, especially when you're starting out. He really critiques what he calls the passion hypothesis, this common belief that finding your passion is step one.
Right, and to make his point, he kicks off chapter 1, The Passion of Steve Jobs, with, well, Steve Jobs. It's almost gospel now, do what you love, partly thanks to Jobs' speech. But Newport says, hang on, look closer at his early life.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is when you do look closer, his early interests weren't really focused on tech at all. He was into Eastern mysticism, calligraphy, he traveled to India, that sort of thing. Apple didn't start because of some lifelong computer passion. It was more about spotting a business opportunity. With Steve Wozniak's tech skills, it was seizing a chance where their skills complemented each other.
It kind of flips the script on the Jobs myth we all know, doesn't it?
It does.
Newport argues Jobs basically stumbled into entrepreneurship. He did something he was good at, not necessarily passionate about from day one. He even quotes Newport saying something like, if a young Steve Jobs had taken his own advice, we'd probably never have heard of him.
Exactly. So the insight isn't just passion isn't the driver. It's that sometimes skills lead you somewhere unexpected and fulfilling. And that leads right into chapter 2, Passion is Rare. He looks at the actual data. Turns out these clear work-related passions, they're just not that common. He cites studies suggesting fewer than, 20% of people can identify one.
That feels true, actually. When you ask people about passions, it's often hobbies, right? Sports, art, music, things that don't always translate easily into a career path.
Precisely. And that sets up what Newport calls the passion trap.
The passion trap. Tell us more.
It's that feeling, that disillusionment, when you expect your job to perfectly match this passion you think you have. Then the reality hits, boring tasks, challenges, and you think, oh, this isn't my passion after all. Which can lead to job hopping, searching for this mythical perfect fit.
Yeah, that constant search.
Newport puts it bluntly. Passion is both rare and dangerous. And I love his analogy. Deciding what to do with your life is not like deciding what to have for dinner.
That's a great line.
It really puts it in perspective. We put immense pressure on finding this thing, but maybe that's the wrong approach for most people.
He also mentions a Canadian study, didn't he? University students whose passions were mostly those non-career hobbies again.
Yeah, and career counselors see it all the time. People feel lost because they haven't found their one true calling.
Okay, so if passion is rare, it can also be dangerous. That's chapter 3, Passion is Dangerous.
How so? This chapter unpacks the mindset that comes with the follow your passion advice. He calls it the passion mindset.
Yeah.
And the problem is, it focuses mostly on what the world can offer you.
So it's about what am I getting out of this?
Exactly. Is this job making me happy? Is it fulfilling my passion? Newport argues this self-focused view almost guarantees dissatisfaction because, let's be real, all jobs have downsides. Tedious parts, difficult moments.
No job is perfect passion all the time.
Right. And if your main metric is, am I feeling passionate right now? You're likely to bail when things get tough.
He uses a case study here, right? Thomas, the aspiring screenwriter.
Yes, Thomas.
Yeah.
At a secure software job, wasn't feeling the passion, so he quit to chase the screenwriting dream. But the issue was he didn't have the skills, the connections, the career capital, as Newport calls it later.
He jumped based on passion alone.
Yeah. And in a super competitive field like Hollywood, he ended up frustrated, unemployed. It's a cautionary tale. Focusing only on what you want without thinking about what value you offer. That's risky.
And Newport also points out interest change, right? What you're passionate about at 20 might not be the same at 30 or 40.
Exactly. Passion's a moving target. So building a whole career on it, maybe not the most stable foundation.
Okay, so if not passion, then what?
Well, that brings us to Newport's alternative, the craftsman mindset. This is the heart of rule #2. Be so good they can't ignore you.
The craftsman mindset. So shifting focus from what do I get
To what can I offer? Yeah. It's all about developing valuable skills, getting really, really good at something. This is where he introduces career capital. Think of it as rare and valuable skills you build up over time.
Okay, career capital.
And that capital is what gives you leverage. Leverage for autonomy, creativity, eventually work with real purpose. But crucially, you have to earn it first by building those skills. You don't just start with the perks.
It's like you need something valuable to trade. That makes intuitive sense.
It does.
And chapter 4, the clarity of the craftsman, contrasts these two mindsets more deeply.
Right. The passion mindset is often looking for external validation. Am I happy? Am I getting praise? Whereas the craftsman mindset is driven internally. How do I get better? How can I master this? How can I be more valuable?
More focus on the work itself.
Exactly. And Newport argues that dedication to mastery, to improvement, is what actually leads to deep satisfaction and clarity, not chasing a feeling. The fulfillment comes from the process, the progress.
And the mechanism for building these skills, this capital, is deliberate practice, not just logging hours.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a specific kind of practice. Focused, pushing your limits. He uses the example of Jordan Tice, the bluegrass musician. Tice didn't necessarily start out with this burning passion for bluegrass specifically, but he focused relentlessly on honing his guitar skills. Deliberate, focused practice. And his success came not from chasing passion, but from becoming exceptionally good. So good he couldn't be ignored.
That quote comes back. Adopt the craftsman mindset, and then the passion will follow.
Yes. And that other powerful one, if you're not focusing on becoming so good they can't ignore you, you're going to be left behind. The insight is key. Mastery often comes before passion. Getting good can make you passionate about something.
Okay, so chapter 5 delves deeper into this power of career capital. It's the currency for the good stuff, right? Autonomy, creativity.
Exactly. Career capital, those rare, valuable skills from deliberate practice, that's your leverage. The more you have, the more freedom you gain to shape your career. He directly links capital to getting those things we all want in a job.
Like autonomy and impact?
Right. He tells the story of Mike Jackson, the TV producer turned farmer.
Oh, yeah, the farmer. That sounds like a passion move.
It looked like one, maybe. But Newport's point is, Jackson's decades in TV gave him crucial transferable skills. Project management, leading teams, building systems. That was his career capital. That's what made the farm viable.
Ah, so the skills enabled the change.
Totally. Newport says, if you want a great job, you need something of great value to offer in return. And career capital is the key currency of great work. These skills aren't just for one job. They build the foundation for flexibility.
And chapter 6, the career capitalist, gives more examples of this in action.
Does. Profiles people like Alex Berger, the TV exec who focused methodically on skills to gain creative control, and Party Sabetti, the Harvard biologist. Her dedication to mastery led to incredibly impactful work. We'll hear more about her later.
Right.
These stories drive home the point. Loving what you do often follows becoming great at something valuable. It's like Newport says, working right trumps finding the right work. Focus on becoming valuable, not just daydreaming.
So the practical side then, how do we actually do this? Chapter 7, becoming a craftsman.
Yes, this is the how-to. Building career capital through deliberate practice. Newport defines it clearly. It has to be focused, goal-oriented. It has to push you outside your comfort zone.
Not just going through the motions.
Definitely not. It involves intentional repetition, specific goals, and crucially, feedback. You need to know how you're doing to improve. He stresses this kind of practice. It's often not fun. It's hard work.
Like Steve Martin honing his comedy act for years.
Exactly. Meticulously refining jokes, timing, delivery in small clubs. That's deliberate practice in action. Newport warns, if you just show up and work hard, you'll soon hit a performance plateau.
Right, you stop getting better.
Yeah. And the key quote, deliberate practice is often the opposite of enjoyable, but it's also what separates average from exceptional. It requires real effort and focus.
Okay, so build skills through deliberate practice, gain career capital. Rule #3 seems counterintuitive, though. Turn down a promotion? What's that about?
Well, this rule ties back to the rewards of career capital, specifically control. Autonomy, creativity, impact, these are key to fulfilling work, Newport argues. Control is a big part of that.
Okay, control is good. Why turn down a promotion that might offer more?
Because he warns against grabbing for control before you have enough career capital to actually handle it or to justify it. It's about earning that control, not just wanting it.
Chapter 8, The Dream Job Elixir, talks about why control is so attractive.
It does. That elixir is the mix of autonomy, creativity, impact. And control is maybe the most potent ingredient. Having say over your schedule, your projects, your direction. It's naturally appealing.
Sure.
But Newport immediately flags the danger. Seeking control without the capital to back it up is unsustainable. Remember Ryan, the freelancer who struggled.
Yeah, lacked the skills and reputation.
Right. Newport's point. Control that's acquired without career capital is not sustainable. And desirable jobs are rarely handed out. They're won through value. True control has to be earned through competence.
Which brings us to Chapter 9 and the first control trap. This is grabbing control too soon.
Exactly that. Trying to get significant autonomy, maybe going freelance too early, starting a business without real expertise before you have the skills to make it work.
What happens then?
Well, you struggle to get clients. You lack credibility, maybe face financial instability. He mentions a blogger who failed because she lacked the audience and strong writing skills.
Didn't have the capital.
Didn't have the capital. The level of control you can sustain has to match the value you offer. Newport's warning. Control is seductive, but when you try to obtain it without career capital, you're putting yourself in a dangerous position. Earn your freedom through excellence. Don't just leap.
Okay, so that's trap 1. What's the second control trap in Chapter 10?
This one's a bit different. It happens when you do have the career capital. You are valuable. But you still face resistance when you try to leverage that value for more control.
Why would that happen?
Organizations might not like it. It could disrupt things. They might worry about losing you if you get too autonomous.
Right. They want to keep their valuable asset working for them.
Pretty much. Newport uses Derek Sivers, the CD Baby founder, as an example. Sivers actually sold his very successful company, partly to regain personal control over his work life. The point is, even if you've earned control, it might not just be handed over. Newport says, organizations are not set up to grant you more control. They're set up to get the most out of you.
So you might have to actively claim it.
Exactly. Even if you're good enough to be given control, doesn't mean it will be handed to you. You might need to negotiate, push a bit.
Okay, so how do we avoid these traps? Chapter 11, Avoiding the Control Traps. What are the strategies?
Newport gives practical advice. A key one is the law of financial viability.
The what?
The law of financial viability. Before you make a bid for more control, ask yourself, will people pay me for this?
Is there real market value for what I want to do autonomously?
Precisely. If the answer is clearly yes, you have paying clients lined up, or solid job offers proving your value, that's a strong signal you have the capital. He also stresses having concrete evidence of your value.
Not just feeling valuable.
Right. Tangible proof. And he recommends making small bets. Test your ideas incrementally. Don't make huge, risky leaps into the unknown.
Little experiment.
Yeah. Newport's conclusion here is clear. The key is to do what people are willing to pay for. Career satisfaction doesn't come from quitting. It comes from mastering and then strategically redirecting your skills.
Master, then redirect. Got it. Okay, final rule. Rule #4. Think small, act big. This sounds like it's about finding purpose or a mission.
It is. But again, Newport flips the script. A meaningful career mission isn't found through deep soul-searching, he argues. It emerges gradually from the adjacent possible of your existing expertise. You discover it at the cutting edge of your field once you're already good.
So mastery comes first, then the mission reveals itself.
Pretty much. It's a bottom-up discovery, not a top-down decision.
And Chapter 12 uses Party Sabeti again. The Meaningful Life of Party Sabeti.
Yes, she's a great example. Her major mission, her work on Ebola genetics, didn't come from deciding early on, I want to fight epidemics. It grew directly out of her deep, hard-earned expertise in computational genetics. That expertise put her in a position to make a unique, vital contribution when the crisis hit.
Her skills opened the door to that mission.
Exactly. Newport says you can't just declare a mission. It has to arise from your capabilities. A mission is a unifying focus. It provides a reason why your work matters. But crucially, you can't fake a mission. It must emerge from your expertise.
So just like control, missions need backing. Chapter 13, Missions Require Capital.
You got it. Same principle. Pursuing a big mission effectively requires serious career capital. You need the autonomy to pursue it, the credibility so people listen, the actual expertise, the network.
All the stuff built through the craftsman mindset.
Right. Without that foundation, Newport warns of mission failure. He mentions Andrew, the tech entrepreneur whose startup failed. Good mission, but not enough experience or resources, not enough capital.
So build the foundation first.
Yes. You can't execute a great mission unless you first have the career capital required.
I like
And
that.
a mission chosen before you have the capital is a mission destined to fail.
Okay, so how do we find these missions that emerge from expertise? Chapter 14 talks about missions require little bets.
This connects back to the idea of experimenting. Use small, low-risk projects, little bets, to explore the possibilities at the edge of your field. Newport argues that big breakthroughs and compelling missions often come from tinkering, adjusting, learning iteratively, not from some grand, preformed vision.
Like Chris Rock testing jokes in small clubs.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy Newport uses. Try things out, see what works, what resonates, what opens new doors. Maybe start with side projects, part-time explorations. Validate ideas before committing fully.
Makes sense. Great careers are built through a series of small steps.
Not grand, pre-planned leaps. And mission comes from action, not reflection. You find it by doing, not just thinking.
And the last piece, chapter 15, missions require marketing. Even a great mission needs to get noticed.
Absolutely. It's not enough to have a brilliant mission rooted in capital and tested with little bets if nobody knows about it or understands why it matters. You need to communicate it effectively to get support, collaborators, funding, impact.
So how do you market a mission?
Newport brings in Seth Godin's purple cow idea. Your mission, or the work supporting it, needs to be remarkable, different, interesting, compelling enough that people want to talk about it.
It needs to stand out.
Yes. He talks about Giles Bolkett and his unusual programming tool, Archaeopteryx. It gained traction because it was novel, and he communicated its value effectively.
Make people curious.
Right. The takeaway. If no one hears about your mission, it doesn't matter how good it is, and remarkability is not optional. The entry price for impact.
Wow, okay, so let's quickly recap the 4 rules.
Sure. Rule 1, don't follow your passion.
Rule 2, be so good they can't ignore you. Build career capital.
Rule 3, turn down a promotion. Use capital strategically for control.
And rule 4, think small, act big, let mission emerge from mastery, use little bets, market it.
And the big idea weaving through it all. Real career satisfaction comes from developing rare, valuable skills. That career capital. It's about the craftsman mindset, deliberate practice, gaining control strategically, and letting a mission grow from your expertise, not from wishful thinking.
It really does flip conventional advice on its head, doesn't it? Puts the focus on contribution, on skill, not just internal feelings. So, a final thought for you listening. What's maybe one small skill you could start deliberately practicing today? Even a tiny step using that craftsman mindset might lead somewhere unexpected and rewarding down the line. And if you want to dive deeper into Cal Newport's ideas, please support him by grabbing a copy of So Good They Can't Ignore You. Links in the description.
Definitely worth the read. It's a very pragmatic, powerful approach to building a career you can actually love.
BookCast FM, bringing books to life one cast at a time.